Righto, the next thing we'll look at, once we're happy with our bridge height, the relief, is intonating the guitar, getting the correct intonation going on. Right, well what I do there is I get my tuner, I hook up the tuner to the guitar, the open string and the 12th fret should be the same. If one is sharper or lower than the other, then you've got to make intonation adjustments to the saddle. Okay, so if your fretted note is too high, on the 12th fret, compare it to the open, then your effective length of the string is too short and you've got to lengthen it, moving this little saddle back, and vice versa. If the pitch is too low on the fretted note, well then you've got to shorten the effective length of the string to make it sound higher. Anyway, on a Floyd Rose unit, to change the length of the or where the saddle sits, I take the strings off the fretboard just to get rid of all the tension. So the Floyd Rose is off. There's the little Allen keys screws underneath the saddles there. I undo the Allen key on the saddle and I'll push it back a little bit or pull it forward. There's coarse adjustments and things you can do, like there's a series of, under the saddle there's a series of positions that the screw can be in. So the Floyd Rose is back on the guitar. I then go back and I check the pitch again, compare it with the open to the fret. They should be both the same. You just keep mucking around doing that. It's the easiest way to get it done. But intonation is really important. Otherwise you'll find if your guitar's poorly intonated, as you climb up the frets and you're doing a solo up here, you'll find that the notes sound really bad and it just sounds out of tune all the time. The only thing really left to do then is set your pickup height to get optimum tone out of the guitar. And by doing that, I'll just have it plugged in. I'll just go through a few chugs and so forth. Passive pickups like these ones, the magnets are quite strong in it, so you don't need them really close to the strings. Otherwise, you'll upset the tone. But you'll also drag the string closer to the pickup, putting it out of tune. And when you do a big ringing solo, the note will die a lot quicker because the pickup strength is going to stop that string from vibrating. So you've got to get a happy medium. If you have the pickups too close to the string as well, you get a lot of distortion and a lot of, you lose a lot of clarity in your notes. You want that to an extent, but not too much. So I tend to have the pickup further away from the bass string. You try and maintain an even volume across the pickups, especially from one pickup to the other. I'll be chugging away, then I'll flick it to the neck pickup and I'll try and spot any volume output difference. I'll try and keep it the same so that the neck pickup's always deeper in the guitar. For one, the strings vibrate a lot more over the top of the neck, giving off a lot more volume. Okay, well I put the springs all back on the guitar. I forgot to actually even mention to you, before you put the springs back on, you should always lock the guitar down. Lock the nuts down first so that everything's locked in. Put your springs back in, let the tremolo go, and just see where the Floyd Rose wants to sit. And then I just use a screwdriver in the back to evenly wind in or out those screws to get that Floyd Rose back to being level again. You'll find once you get it back to level, the pitch will be exactly where you left off with the block in it, and you're all done, you're all finished. Righto, so the guitar is all set up, but now I'm going back to the start to show what I would do in case I find a high fret. All I do, if I suspect that it's high, and I'll put a ruler over the top of it, and the ruler's rocking back and forth. Okay, the fret's high. Take the strings off the guitar, then adjust the truss rod of the guitar to make sure that the neck's as straight as possible. You really got to. You don't want to have any relief in the neck when you're filing out or you're getting rid of a high fret. You want it to be straight. And then there's a couple of tools that I use for that. One is I've got a straight edge here, just a small straight edge, nothing too long. A big long straight edge, you find you grind off the wrong areas of the fretboard that you don't want to wear down. A smaller one like this, you can really focus on the frets that you want to get rid of. On the back of this, down at the hardware shop, I bought some, what's that, about 2-inch double-sided tape that I just lay on there, and then I stick some wet and dry onto the top of it. The wet and dry I use to start with is around 400, I suppose, 400 grade. That'll get the fret down nice and fast. Yeah, with the strings off, I'll run it over the fretboard. I'll run it over, and as soon as you start doing it, you'll see a lot of dust starting to gather around the high fret. It'll get really dirty, but until all the surrounding frets, either side of the high one, get dust coming off the whole width of the fret, I'll just keep filing till that point. If you don't have a straight edge like this, you can use like a sharpening stone, like just one of those 6 or 7 inch sharpening stones you get. That does a good job. It's nice and straight. But I don't know. I've got this. I've been using it for years. I like it. Some people use just a file, a flat file, and you can run that over. I find files, especially coarse ones, they leave really big ridges in your frets, and they're hard to sand and finish up later, whereas sandpaper and wet and dry, it's a lot easier to finish the fret later on. Okay, so we've filed it down. All the frets in the region are the same level. The problem we have now is each fret is castellated. You know, the tops of the frets are like that. You don't want to leave it like that. It feels terrible. Your fingers catch on it, and it puts the intonation out and just the general feel of the guitar, you know. So for that, there's a few ways. You can I always mask up the fretboard first so I don't damage the rosewood or the ebony. Just put masking tape over between the frets. Okay, you can use a small file like so. These are very fine little small files, very fine teeth. And I'll just use that, and I'll run it on an angle, change the angle and slowly get it steeper and shallower as the fret needs it. And I'll just work one side of the fret at a time. If you want, you can put a little bit of Nico marker on the top of each fret that's ground down. And when you're filing the fret, you can see if you're doing an even job on the chamfer on the edge. Or if you're feeling saucy, you can go out and buy a fancy fret file. You know, I really recommend doing this. I love this file. It makes the job fun. Doing it like this on a whole neck is a pain in the ass. And you end up you end up not doing it right, and just, anyway, a fret file like this, it's about $60, but it's got the radius of the jumbo fret. Some of them have like a different radiuses all around it for catering for different frets, but this is just for XJs, and it's 300 grit all over. And this just runs over the fret, and you get a perfect fret all the time. It makes, you know, after having your guitar a couple of years, it's going to need a redress. And something like this you'll get years out of. They do, I think on the forums they get about 200 or 300 guitars out of one of these before they have to, well, it might be, yeah, anyway, they get a hell of a lot of frets filed out of them before it wears out. Once you've done that and you've used the 300 grit fret file, it still is scratched. Your fret's still scratched, don't worry, wet and dry. This is 800 or 1000 grade, and I just run it over the fret and just polish it right up. That could almost do on its own, but after that I use, I didn't bring it out, but Brasso on a rag or some sort of cutting compound, polish, and run that over each fret, and that'll bring them up shiny. And it's also good to do every now and then when if you haven't played your guitars, if you've got too many, the frets gunge up with a bit of chode. You can polish that out with the Brasso or the cutting compound and make it feel new again. Okay, well that's about it. Wraps things up for today. I hope I haven't confused anyone. I hope I haven't missed anything out, but mostly I hope I haven't bored you. You know, you haven't turned it off. So if you still made it to now, thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll get back to what I do, and that's my covers. Okay, cheers.